for those who are already thinking, why y'all talking about Kevin Samuels? No, he say this and that. Listen, yeah, we're all humans. Mm-hmm. We're all humans. We, on this channel here, Outstanding Personal Relationships, deal with being pro-moral in your relationships. So whether that's monogamy, polygyny, what have you, that's up to you. But we're about being pro-moral. So other stuff you can really miss us with.
Yeah.
Salaam alaikum, peace. It's Coach Nadir.
And I'm his wife, Coach Fatima.
And I am Coach Nyla. I'm also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as authors of the new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. With that being said, today we wanted to really kind of chime in on and talk about a loss of the relationship community, at least online. And I'm sure you likely already heard about the passing of Mr. Kevin Samuels. Now, here's the thing. There's been a lot of stuff, all right? A lot of stuff, one way or the other, one end of the spectrum or another, that's been said about him. We're not going to dig into that because we know when your book is closed, it's closed. All right? Your book is closed. So whether you love him, you hate him, whether you liked him, whether you disliked him, his content, what have you, one thing that we all can agree on was that the man did something that most people never do. All right? And that is he actually had a tremendous impact. Again, one way or the other way, you like it or you dislike it, it doesn't really matter where you fall in between there because the thing we can't deny is the impact that he had.
Right. They said 1.4 million subscribers or followers or something along the lines of
right.
That.
You build a big presence, but you have a voice. You add a unique perspective. And as I mentioned before, at least from the different vids that I've watched of him and whatnot, he's about 75 to 80% correct on the things. You may not necessarily like the delivery or the language or something like that, but it kind of reminds me of like an uncle that has been through some things that has a little bit more culture or some wisdom on some stuff, But the challenge comes with our own personal issues. See, it's really a reflection of maturity or lack thereof in how we choose to respond to something or if we react. Mm-hmm. I remember one of our mentors told me a while ago, he's like, doctors usually ask, how are you responding to something? Because usually responding to something that's positive gives you an opportunity and time to choose how to respond. Versus if they ask you, this person had a reaction to a medication.
Adverse reaction.
You know what I'm saying? It's adverse reaction. Put that adjective on it to describe what type of reaction. But usually, we think of knee-jerk reaction and so on. So if a person gets on there, oh, that's good. It's a Mother's Day. I've heard it being called a Mother's Day gift for mothers. And, this is what he get. And did he die alone? And all kinds of stuff. Even the circumstances, all of the things reflect decisions.
Yeah.
And I talk about that in, with the polygamy masterclass or when I'm coaching men, and we deal with the decisions and our long-term impact and short-term impact of our decisions. So whether that decision is on getting married, right? We talk about polygyny all the time, right? So whether that's practicing polygyny, whether it's practicing monogamy, or never getting married, all right? These things have different implications on your life. It's funny because you see the studies that talk about the long-term longitudinal studies that talk about those who are married live longer lives. You know what I'm saying? They have better health and so on and so forth that really go along with that, right? So making different decisions really impact your life. So for me, for example, I wasn't into anything, what do they call them? They call them hard drugs or something back in the day, right? You know what I'm saying? So as a teenager back in the day, I smoked some weed.
There
you know what I'm saying?
That was it. That came out the closet, y'all. There you got them. That's the secret.
That was it back as a teenager. I had my years of that, and that was it. And the reason I didn't graduate to this next thing, if you will, is because I seen those around me. You know what I'm saying? I had a father that used different drugs. I had uncles that used different drugs. I knew people, even some of my friends as in my mid-teenage years, they began to lace their weed with cocaine or with crack. And I'm like, no, I had experience around people with that. And I saw what it did. So I was absolutely not doing that. That was a philosophy for me because I knew the damage that it caused. And I knew that as I grow and become a man, not happening. Yeah. So a decision like that had long-reaching effects, which is better for my health. I didn't want to need to look outside myself to change my state to have a certain feeling. I wasn't dependent on an external substance, whether that's alcohol or any other drugs. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important, just as an example when it comes to decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, decisions. It's so many different decisions that we make in our lives, of course, and and like you said before, like Coach Nader said about those things creating an impact on your life. One of my major decisions, I think, that had a major impact and still has an impact ongoing right now, is my decision to accept Islam, to convert to Islam. Like that was probably the biggest decision I made, and still to this day, and I stated in some of my videos before, when I talked about my conversion to Islam, when I was told, convert to Islam, or, take your shahada, because it's pretty much what it's called, and take your shahada and everything will fall into place. I was told by a sister, and because I was like, I don't have this, and I'm nervous about that, and all these different things. It's like, she was like, everything will fall into place. And every time I think about that, those words constantly ring true. Still to this day, decades, later, over 15 years later.
Right,
decades.
Almost. Camille is 22. My son is 22, be 23. Almost 2 decades. So, but that being said, whatever happens in my life, good, bad, whatever, indifferent, whatever you want to call it, I can always go back. I mean, that's what grounds me. That's the thing that grounds me. So that decision that was made, mind you, out of the family I grew up in, I'm still the only Muslim, not counting my kids and everything. We don't count, they came from me.
Yeah, you said you grew up in.
Whatever. So no one else is Muslim. I'm still the only one so far, working on that. But I didn't have, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being the only one. It wasn't easy when you go through, people thinking these different things. And when I converted to Islam, it was, after just 9/11 stuff and everything like that. So it was not an easy journey doing it alone or doing it by myself and finding different ways and being really new to it. But that major decision shaped my life as it is right now, and it shaped the way I raise my children. It shapes the way that I treat other people. All these different things, and that was a major decision in my life. One of the major decisions, but I think probably the biggest decision and the biggest one that was against other people who were around me, that knew me, that grew up around me. And even that being said, it also allowed them to see this different side and this beautiful side of Islam as well. So that is a cool thing too. Even though they're not Muslim yet or anything like that, they saw this beautiful change, even though I was a pretty decent person, but they saw this beautiful change, and they saw the wisdom behind a lot of the decisions that I was making and the decision that I make now. A lot of them come to me for advice, and they don't look at, this is this Muslim chick that's going to tell me stuff that has to try to convert me to this. It's nothing like that. But they know that it's something about that decision that I made that wasn't just what they thought before was just a phase or a fad or something like that, that caused just my children to be very kind, mindful, my whole life being just intentional and grounded. So, yeah, I guess that's one of the good decisions. I've had some bad decisions that shaped my life too, but we're going to talk about the good ones right now.
I think another thing to understand about decisions is that we'll constantly make them, and they'll constantly change us. So the decisions that, of course, to take our shahada and place honor in our lives that mattered so much to me because my parents didn't get married. They broke up when I was 3. So I said, well, growing up and moving forward and getting married and making decisions to not be that. Although it might have upset some people, like Coach Nyla was saying, then you just upset because my decisions are for me and for the people that love me and will benefit from them, and I benefit from theirs. But one thing about decisions is that they hold so much power to what we can become, because we remember when we weren't OPR and we weren't coaches and all that stuff. So one of the major decisions that the 3 of us made, not only as family members, but as team members and co-founders, was creating OPR so that decisions that others make are not as difficult as they might be, because we've been through it. We know maybe we haven't been through everything everyone has been through, and that's okay. But understanding that the decisions that we make and the impact on others, Kevin Samuels did his thing his way. And I didn't agree with everything he said. However, he saw a need to have a discussion and he opened it up. So the decision to create OPR, the decision to share a little bit of our lives with everyone is not just for us so that we can get the fame from it and money. And it's about helping families and couples come together when times feel as though they are just hopeless. So I love the fact that that decision was made, but always remember, decisions are powerful. You can make them. You can wait to make them. You can think on them. You can change your mind on decisions that you made, and that's okay. As long as it is not something, some people will say, well, the decision for a man to make a decision to practice polygyny hurt me, so he should not make that decision. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you make a decision in a difficult time, not to lose hope and know that you could still have a fulfilling life, even though you feel as though you're engulfed in this hard decision. It doesn't mean you just give up. It means you can still grow, and there's decisions within decision. So we're here, honestly, making that choice to be on the internet and create content and coach and train and open up the conversation about polygyny was probably one of the most major decisions that I personally made. So I'm just glad and grateful and just humbled by being in this space to help other people. So I really appreciate the opportunity to do so, or the decision to be able to sit in that decision.
Indeed, and it's important too, because for those who are already thinking, "Why y'all talking about Kevin Samuels?" and no, he say this and that. Listen, yeah, we're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
We're all humans. We on this channel here, Outstanding Personal Relationships, deal with being pro-moral in your relationships. So whether that's monogamy, polygyny, what have you, that's up to you. But we're about being pro-moral. So other stuff you can really miss us with.
Yeah.
All right. And when we're talking about decisions, and there's a reward or consequence pretty much to every decision, even big and small. There's a ripple effect. There's all of these things that we know as adults, or should know as adults. So should we choose to move forward in something or hold back at something, whatever it may be, it's a reflection of ourselves and our growth or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't like where we are right now in our relationships, all right, but we've been married, let's say 5 years, 10 years, and we don't like where it's at, cool, then look at the last 5 and 10 years. Here's the thing. Your past does not equal your future. But there's some decisions that need to be changed and made, though, right? I mean, common sense. Now, the challenge is that the decision can be made. Now, everything's not going to change overnight, but you can change direction overnight. And if you change the direction towards something better and you're being intentional and more aligned with what you really desire and what's better for your fulfillment, in that case, your destination will be better because you started the change of that direction. So Kevin Samuels made an impact. He was a voice in a big world. You know what I'm saying? That has many different voices and opinions and views and whatever it may be. But again, like we stated out at the beginning, no one can deny the fact he made an impact. So much so that we're talking about him right now. Didn't know him personally. Don't agree with decisions that were made and things that happened or rumors around what happened. Again, we pro-moral, so we on a different track. You know what I'm saying?
We're off that.
You know, we definitely, indeed. So, just understand that and my mentor told me this. He said, there's about 20 major decisions that you'll make in your life. And from those 20 will come the rest of these different decisions. They will shape your life. So he's like, he said, whether or not you choose to go to college, for example, or drop out of school, or what type of college you'll be, or the person that you will marry. All right, whether or not you have children or not. Whether or not you choose to drink, party, take these drugs, hang around these crews. All of these different things have rewards and consequences. But your underlying philosophy, what we talk about is being pro-morals. And just to clarify that once again, because I know people say, well, I'm not Muslim to watch your channel. All right, and I understand. We know we got people from all over, many different backgrounds. And even Muslims don't have the same morals that we may have. They may have different opinions or different views on Islam as well. And we encourage everybody to do your studying. Mm-hmm. All right? Yes, but there are universal morals and principles that are always respected throughout all cultures. So for example, lying is looked down upon in all cultures, right? Honor or integrity, bravery, courage. These are universal morals and values. When we talk about family, universal, not just in one part of the land, one part of the country, but there may be one part of the world that's, skewed lines between men and women. That's not the whole planet. All right, the U.S. is not the world. The U.S. is just the U.S., 4 to 5% of the world's population. Okay? So when we say pro-moral, we're talking about those universal values that we all can agree on, that we were born with as part of our fitra, or part of our natural disposition, if you will, when we were babies and perfect and sinless and all the rest of that. All right? So make sure as an adult, and you don't have to do anything. You have to take our advice, of course. But mature adults recognize that we are responsible for our decisions and the quality thereof. So make the best ones. And most importantly, I would suggest make a positive, beneficial impact on others, so that when your book is closed, you still have different things that continue to add up, and you still tend to go with people wherever they are because you're written down in their journal or their notes or what they learned from you, all right, to keep a legacy and that memory alive. So, that's all I have to really share on it, but, much respect to the body of work and the people that he's impacted and
his family that has been affected by his death, because his mother learned on the internet that he passed, from what they say. So, yeah.
All right. So with that being said, remember, we want you to make sure you recognize and live in GLC daily. So
make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a high level
every single day.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Here are 3 ways outstanding personal relationships can help you.
Make sure you guys are following us on our social medias at Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook, and on IG at Outstanding Relationships.
And make sure you sign up for our email list, and you can actually email us at support@Outstanding Personal Relationships, where you will get updates on our new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored, as well as exclusive access to our lives and bonuses.
Absolutely. If you're looking for more polygyny education, make sure you visit polygamymasterclass.com. Now, if you're looking for coaching or counseling with either Coach Fatima or Coach Nyla, you can find them at.
Make sure you visit me at CoachFatima.com.
And myself at CoachNyla.com.
That's how we can help you. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.